big data. It's a term used so often in today's corporate environment that it's reached a level of buzzword that makes the meaning ambiguous. Unfortunately, no one is really taking time to understand what this means, resulting in what could potentially be a dangerous future. The transition from analog to digital technology has allowed for an explosion in the sheer amount of data that organizations and individuals are now able to collect. Because of this storage, it has given companies the ability to gather information on its users. Originally for the intent of analyzing said data and creating custom experiences for their users that promote usability, in many cases, it's beneficial when Google is able to suggest searches based on your interests, or when social media suggests accounts for you to follow based on the followers you enjoy. But let's put into perspective what data is actually being collected. Think back. When was the last time you read the entire Apple agreement, or Google agreement, or literally any agreement involving an application or program? Within those are tons of stipulations to what the respective company has access to.
Luckily, a majority of these organizations do a rather solid job of encrypting and securing user data. Google arguably owns the most amount of data among these companies, alongside Facebook and Amazon. Journalists have hypothesized that amongst Google's data centers, they are using approximately 10 to 15 exabytes of data. This is equivalent to around 30 million modern personal computers. These styles of data centers are very well secured both physically and digitally. That being said, issues start to arise when government entities, these corporations themselves, and malicious hackers start using this information to benefit themselves. An example of a corporation or company using their users' information is Facebook. Facebook aggregates a lot of information on you to then sell and use for ad purposes, including the obvious information such as your name, email, and phone number. Facebook also starts to get detailed. Facebook records what posts you view, what posts you like, what pages you interact with, and the frequency in which you interact with Facebook. And this style of aggregating data is true across arguably all social media platforms, because they are free. You've never had to formally pay for Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Google, YouTube, or any other service that you use on a daily basis. However, you are paying in your information and privacy. When a product is free, you essentially become the product, because that company is using your information to fund their service.
Even though there are a lot of threats online, there are ways to protect yourself and your information. A prominent technique used by those rightfully concerned with keeping their security intact in today's infiltrative society is encryption. Encryption is the process of transforming information into code that can only be understood by the sender and recipient. This is done by creating a key, accessible only to the sender and recipient, that converts the message to its encrypted self, then reverts itself to its original form using the key. Encryption is a cool tool, but who uses it and how? The process of encryption is applied predominantly in web browsing, and thankfully so. Ever been on your credit card provider's website, or even social media, and notice a green lock in the word HTTPS next to the URL? Well, this is a form of encryption. HTTP is the standard for web browsing, but the S added at the end stands for secured, and denotes that your information is being properly encrypted and is safe from any prying eyes. Most browsers guarantee that they are using HTTPS when the user is dealing with sensitive information, so this principle of encryption is practically applicable to everyone. The EFF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, are a non-profit digital rights group that have created tools to protect computer users' privacies. One tool is HTTPS Everywhere, a browser extension that connects with several major websites and encrypts the data, making the browsing experience more secure. Taking encryption to the next level is the internet browser Tor. Perhaps you've heard of Tor, and if so, then you understand its value in today's digital metropolis. Tor is focused on protecting the anonymity of the user and does this by routing the user's internet through multiple volunteer-operated Tor servers throughout the world. We've covered how to protect yourself over the internet, and it seems pretty common sense as to why. There's the obvious, wanting to keep your personal information, well, personal. But there's also another reason to protect yourself over the internet, and it doesn't involve anything as sophisticated as encryption or multi-node communication links through volunteer servers. No, it's being conscious of what you post on the internet. Many users of the internet that interact through social media often forget that once something is posted on the web, it doesn't disappear. Even if you think it does, trust us, it's still out there. Whether it's in the form of cached data on a remote server or a screenshot, your online behavior and actions are monitored and recorded. To solidify this point, our team went back and pulled tweets from presidential candidate Donald Trump's Twitter account, specifically before he was running for president. It became clear to us that if at the time Mr. Trump knew he would be running for president in the future, he most likely would not have posted these thoughts on social media, as they had been used as deterrents to his credibility in this election. So remember, a couple of the most powerful ways to protect your information and secure your privacy online are to establish some form of encryption, whether this is through simply ensuring HTTPS is enabled or using an anonymous browser like Tor, and being conscious of what you're posting online.